Okay, people, today let's take a quick look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends X-Force Archangel. Now, I got this and the Amazon exclusive Spider-Man No Way Home Lizard in at the same time, so I had kind of a decision to make. Did I want to look at Lizard or did I want to look at Archangel? And at the end of the day, my love for the comic book versions of characters won out. Plus my laziness kicked in. I recently reviewed the X-Force, X-23, and Warpath 2-pack, so all of the comparison figures, all of the rest of the X-Force team was still out here in the shop. Whereas it's been a little bit longer since I reviewed the Spider-Man No Way Home Electro figure, and those comparison figures have made it back into the display. So I thought, hey, might as well do this one first, right? Looking at the package, it's what we're used to with Marvel Legends. You know, a logo that says Marvel Legends, that confusing logo for either Force X or X-Force. XO, it could be Force XO too, or Exo Force, all around Force X. A label telling us it is Archangel, and then of course, warning, choking hazard, small parts. If you can fit those wings in your mouth though, no. Don't do it. Some gritty Archangel artwork on the side, along with an X, of course. Different artwork on the back this time. Warren looking all silvery, along with the rest of the team. And we got Warpath, we've got Wolverine, we've got X-23. Can we get a Wolfsbane? If you're unsure of what you just bought, here is Archangel's bio, along with what's in the package, and more warnings, and more warnings, I guess. On the other side, another piece of Archangel artwork, along with, hey, there's Archangel, there's some window, Marvel Legends. On the top, X marks the spot. You just bought an X-Men toy. On bottom, there's the barcode, legalese. Let's get this open, see what's going on here. And yep, there is Warren in all of his black and silver glory. Open a little blue and red just for good luck. But what tickles me is they use the same body as Angel, which makes sense because it's the same character, just in a different costume, a different color scheme, a different demeanor, a different attitude. Here's Angel, all young and hopeful and heroic, and here's Archangel after he's seen some shit, after he's been through things. So yeah, I love that. There's a sense of continuity. This character becomes this character. Some of the parts and pieces were handed down from Vulcan. Same shoulders, same biceps, same lower arms with the cut in the middle. That's so they could mold gloves and things in different colors from the forearms and not have to use paint. That way they could match this to this and this to this, and the same thing with the boots being a separate piece. On Archangel, it's not really needed because it goes from black to black, but it's not really noticeable either. Same upper legs, same lower legs, again with that boot cut, and same feet. Same crotch, different torso. Vulcan's pecs are a bit more narrow. He has more of a leaner look to him. The shape and the sculpt of the torso is shared with X-Factor Cyclops. It's got that kind of thicker look to it, especially there at the pecs. The big thing you'll notice right off the bat is, yep, same sculpt, no butterfly joint on Warren. I think we talked about it with Angel, but there's holes in the back in order to plug the wings in. For butterfly joints to work, it's got to go inside the torso in the back, and with a hole going through and then a peg going into it, there would be nowhere for this to go. There's holes in the back. I know some people are sick of the ab crunch too, but to me it's just classic. That's just Marvel Legends. Yes, I would love all figures to move to the double ball joints or lower hinge upside down with the floating pecs, but that'll eventually happen, but not at the moment. So here's Archangel, who does have a nice silver paint job. It's not really chromy, but it is shiny silver. It's really cleanly applied. The lines are all fairly crisp, which is nice for this design because there is a lot of straight lines and a lot of angles. A lot of arc angles. Wait a second, that's not right. Flipping to this side and pulling out my peepers, I do notice a little bit of mushiness on this line and a bit right here, but it's not super noticeable to the naked eye, or at least my naked eye, which isn't as good as other people's naked eyes, but really from the neck down, it's just a blank body with a paint job on top of it, and nicely applied paint job. And there's also a contrast. The black is still kind of plastic sheeny. It's not matte black, but it's more matte than the silver, so that really pops against it. But here's my favorite part. This blue skin tone, that mean mug, those eyes peering out. Ooh. The silver design work is sculpted on here because this is a unique sculpt for this Archangel, the X-Force version. So it's just not going to be used for anything else. Wait a second, what's this sculpted line here? There's an extra V to it that's not painted, but this is raised here. Is this another Archangel head? Wait a second. No, it's not the first head. That is definitely a different size and sculpt. It doesn't have these extra raised pieces here. Is this future reuse? Are we gonna see an update for the classic Archangel? Or did mine not get painted? That's just odd. Not distracting. It's not bad unless it was supposed to be silver, but if it's supposed to be just black, then you can't hardly even see it at a distance, and I'll be looking at it like this for 99% of the time. There is a little darkness to the lips, and maybe around the eyes. Oh, and I just noticed the eyebrows. That's cool. Going over articulation, there is a ball joint at the top of the neck with a hinge underneath. That allows them to look this far up, which is good for a flying character, and then looks down that far. Not much tilt though. If you look out the left side of the plane, you can see the beach. On the right side, there is the ocean. Pin coming out to the shoulder rotates around with a hinge that goes up to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow goes all the way up. Swivel at the wrist with a hinge in and out. Brunchdicles go this far forward with a very heavy detent, and then arcs back that far. Archangel back. Nailed it. Swivel at the waist. Ball coming out to the hip, kicks here and back and out. Swivel at the thigh, breaks the design work all to hell, but so does this. Pinless knees always have one part frozen, and here it was the lower right leg. I heated it up, got it to pop. So once you get it moving, it stays moving. Double knee goes up this far. Ass angel, am I right? Swivel at the boot line. Hinge at the ankle goes back, goes forward. Front facing pin for rocker. For accessories out of the package, there's 2 fists, and it's Marvel Legends, those pop right out. And you can swap in these splayed out hands that have claws to the fingernails. They're a little pointy on the end. To get a little more emotion to the head, you can pop this neutral one out. Well, I say neutral. It does have kind of a furrowed brow and then you can pop on this screaming head, and I always say it, I'm not a big fan of screaming heads, but for something like this, where it feels appropriate, well, okay, a lot of screaming heads do fit the character, but I just don't dig them. Here, the way they did the teeth and the tongue, because that is an insert, you can see the red back here, it just looks good. It does. I'm not just saying that because, oh, it's brand new and I haven't just opened it. I'm serious. That looks good because the face is sculpted to go along with the screaming mouth. The cheeks are coming up. The brow is even more furrowed. Those eyes just, there's a little darkness around them. I kind of like this, especially if you're going to put them in an action pose. An action pose means spread out wings, and this is how they come out of the package with no instructions whatsoever. I mean, it's kind of obvious. This is going to go on this side. This is the front. This is the way the outer one angles. And I'm guessing that's the same for this one. Well, yeah, it's got it, right? That's the top right there. Comes down to this piece. And again, here's the top, the thicker part, and that'll plug into the back. So I'm going to take this and put that peg there. Okay. And those detents puts those in positions. Guessing, yeah, okay, that's the bigger hole. Yep, or does that go on the inside? Like so. No, that's going to go on the back, I think. I'm pretty sure it's easy to pull back apart too, so it's not like it's going to be permanent. I looked it up and no, I have it right. The little wings go to the back, the big wings go to the front, like this. Not quite as hefty as the previous Archangel's wings, but those are also really heavy. They do have the little wings to the back, and there, and there, and there. But man, yeah, it definitely falls to the back. I mean, this is the same, but it's not a real fast drag. It's more of a slow pull, which is easily fixed by leaning them forward just a bit, or even shifting the wings to here. Or you could use them as a kickstand. There you go. And I know I can bring this one in and do the same thing. Shift things to the front, get him a little bit here, and standing. These just feel a bit more streamlined. Of course, this is my mental image of the wings. This is more recent, but I don't know. It fits this look for the character. While these look good with this version of the character, and I will admit, this does hang on the wall nice. You get a thumbtack right there. Yeah, you get them up on the wall, you get flying. That plugs into a backpack piece. These plug in separately. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it. Well, maybe it'll hang like that. But with those wings, you get some rotation for the smaller ones, forward and back. Then the whole assembly hinges on the plug. And when you turn it, it turns the peg coming down to the little wing. So it'll move with the big wing until you get to there, and then it moves there and bring it forward. There's also a hinge mid-wing, so you can break it forward and cover the body or make it swing back. Then lastly, you can rotate the wings up and down at the peg. If you angle the wings up, you can get more of a spread out. Get them posed up, hanging on the wall or on a stand of some. Oh, okay. Let's crank this down. Have them looking like this. I thought, you know, it's plainer than what we got with the old ones, but again, it fits. Then we get the flying flechette effects. It's the feather knife shooting out. Translucent blue for the flare of it, and then these are painted the same silver as the wings. The back of the effect has 3 points sticking out, and the middle one is offset. It sticks off. You want the blades sticking down, and then it kind of fits on the end of the wing. You want these two on the inside, and the middle one to the outside, and then kind of snag the end of the wing on the other side like that. It's not a super tight grip, but it will stay on as you're posing around. It's more of a down effect unless you really crank the wing up. Well, okay. I guess that's how it's supposed to go right there. But boy, that takes up a lot of room. The other one on the other side, and yeah, kind of awkward. Let's try this. Bring the leg in. Maybe. I was hoping that the wings could come together somehow and have both of them shooting towards it, but because of the angles of the wings, they just end up pointing down. So I feel like only one works at a time. And again, get it up, crank it back, and there's that. These do kind of look like Longshot's blades. I mean, the scale is way, way off. He's got little blades. Archangel's feathers are huge. But a minute ago, I was able to put this in this. If you just barely touch the blades on that knuckle and then take this one and shove it behind the hand, it does stay a bit. It is very precarious. You shake it around, it's going to come off. But for a picture or even posing it in the display for a while, that's not bad. Again, they're way big, but something like this, oh, it's coming towards the camera. They're supposed to be bigger, right? But yeah, they're not going to stay forever. Nothing lasts forever. Size-wise, Archangel stands at about 6 7/16 to the top of his head, and then the wings in this position stand at about 7.5. Wing spread like this is about 12 3/4, and then like this is 16 inches. Here's Warren with 2 previous versions of Archangel. This is the Deluxe set that came with the extra heads and the Apocalypse Claw, and this is the Hit Monkey Build-A-Figure Wave. They are on the older Bucky Cap body. I wouldn't mind seeing an upgrade to this body with those wings. Oh man, is that the extra sculpt on the head there? And then of course here's Archangel with Angel. Same body, same character, different costumes, different wings. And then of course here's a group shot with all the X-Force members we've gotten so far, I think. Well, okay, that Wolverine and Deadpool are the Mafex versions, but Psylocke, Nightcrawler, X-23, Warpath, Domino, Deathlock, and Phantom X are all Marvel Legends. Well, okay, that coat is Rebel 10 Customs. There is Marvel Legends X-Force, Deadpool, and Wolverine, but I like these better. I can't help myself. I don't know. Here's X-Force. So at the end of the day, this thing is a pain in the ass to photograph in action shots because of the angles and the length of the wings and everything, but it sure looks nice doing it. The wings have a sleekness to them. The curves, the cleanness, yeah, it's not my preferred look, but they do the job well here. Especially considering the costume is black and silver. It works with that streamlined look. Getting it all together here, that blue to the face, just surrounded by the blacks and silvers, that also calls a lot of attention to itself. And really, there's nothing wrong with that. That's Archangel. And the more I mess with this, the more I realize that the black and silver is probably more appropriate to this character. He's sunken as low as he can go, to the depths of hell, and risen. Kind of come out of it. Changed, but still trying to be heroic. So, yes, the blues and the pinks are nostalgic as all hell. When I picture them, that's how I picture them. But only because that was my first exposure to them. I was around when Angel became Archangel, but I don't know. The blacks and silvers are pretty sweet too. Good thing I have several different X displays. I can put this with X-Force, that version of X-Force. Like I said, the shiny pink is going to go with Lee team, and then the duller blues and kind of reds will stick with X-Factor. Well, X-Factor when they get around to that second set of costumes. They started with the first set, so I'm going to need an Angel for that with the X on it. I don't know. I enjoy this. I enjoy that. That's how I play. That's how I collect. That's my hobby. Bye.